They don't have to raise their hand anymore, do they? This is, you don't have to state where you're from or any of that stuff, man. This is back home. Just shout them out.
All through the playoffs, you made a point of living in the moment and game by game. You don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
So what's it been like 48 hours?
Geez, I don't know. It's hard to explain it, to be honest with you. You know, super happy for the team and the guys. I think whenever you get to the end with a championship, all those days that you woke up, which is like every single one of them, you know, figuring out how to get there, and when you get there, it makes, you know, each and every day of hard work that you put in and all that, you know, thought and process is really worth it. It really does. And the rest of it's just been too wild to explain, to be honest. You know, right from the buzzer sounding and the 8 million things that have happened in the last 48 hours. It's just almost, it's hard to explain. I got a friend of mine here from Iowa, and he texted me and said, do you realize you were getting interviewed by Kevin McHale, Grant Hill, and Isaiah Thomas after the game, you know, like immediately after the game? And I said, no, I didn't realize it. I don't, you know, and the point is when I was a kid, I was watching McHale every year in those games, and Isaiah, you know, I was in college when Isaiah, 89, 90, and I didn't even hit me when I was getting interviewed by him, but just, you know, all kinds of stuff like that going on.
And you also said, like, you weren't that aware of the connection or the impact the team and the wins had made.
Yeah.
I presume you got a little better feel for what this is all meant to people around?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Obviously, I've well, I wouldn't say unleashed, but I got a really tight wrap on not listening to anything and reading anything and et cetera. And I just figured that was part of the job, to be honest, to make sure there was only so much you could spend your energy on, and what I wanted to spend my energy on was a team and the results of the games. But yeah, it's really something. It's really something. Just the reception and some of the things that you bumped into along the way, and they, you know, getting off the plane last night was exciting for me, and a couple other things going on.
You're winning championships, and I know.
Hi, Steve. Oh man, I recognize you there.
When you're winning championships in other leagues and in other countries and other places,
Mm-hmm.
and probably in the back of your mind, you're saying, one day I want to do this in the NBA. Now that you've done it, compared to winning in the other places, how different does it feel?
Well, it's the magnitude of it here is just these. Again, it's so huge, right? I talked to Sergio Scariola right afterwards, and I said to him, "Well, how does this compare to you, Olympics? You know, he's in the European Cup or the Euro League or whatever," and he just kind of said, "This is just so big, right?" And you know, that's obviously the biggest difference. I can't remember your question now. How does it compare to them?
How
Yeah.
does it feel?
Going through it all felt very similar. I'm not kidding you. In fact, a lot of my players text me congratulations, and I told them, man, I felt this felt just like the run we had at Iowa. Or this felt just like the run we had at Rio Grande. You know, as far as the toughness of the games and the length of the run and you know, just the players we had, there was so many similarities to all those things, and but then when it's over, obviously, again, the magnitude of what's happening here in Toronto and Canada and all that is very, you know, quite different.
Nick, Kyle and Kawhi made vague reference to some behind-the-scenes adversity that went on in the middle of the season. Talking to ESPN the other day. One, can you shine any more light on that? And two, how important was getting over some of those things in terms of building the character of this team throughout the season?
Well, I think when you look back on that, all the adversities that you have end up kind of boosting your character, the strength of your character as you go. I think getting over any of those things along the way and how you handle them, they're necessary parts of it. They really are. Like, you know, the game ones were obvious. You know which ones those were. And I said a lot that we bounced almost immediately back from all those, like just like the next day almost. And that was a really good sign, I thought. You know, and some of the behind the scenes ones, I only can remember a couple, to be honest. And they were needed, expected. I expected them to happen. They were needed to happen, and I thought that the outcome would be what it is. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but I thought the team would become better at the end of those couple tussles we had.
Nick, what have you learned about yourself in this year?
What have I learned about myself? That's a good question, Doug. I don't know. I think if I could say a growth area for me was I really, it's going to sound strange, I really wasn't that nervous much. And I remember being a hell of a lot more nervous in this coaching early in my career, and a little bit more emotional, a little bit more, I don't know, charged up. What would you say, Steve? I've been more charged up this in my life. One of my former assistants back there. And this will sound funny, but one of the most nervous times I had this year was, and I told Masai this too, was I think it was game 3 at Orlando in the middle of the third quarter, and we were up like 12, and all of a sudden I was like, what's going on with me here? I was just like, man, I'm nervous as hell. What the hell's going on here? And I hadn't been hardly all year felt that, you know. So I got up out of my chair and went to half court and yelled something at somebody and kind of tried to get over it real quick. And but that's probably the main thing, Doug. I just never felt like I was, even like before games, I didn't feel like that, you know, like I just the guys helped with that, you know, even Josh, back to your question, you know, those guys, Kawhi, and those guys, Mark and Danny, Fred, are pretty steady influences. And I just didn't see them getting rattled much. And I think that we were kind of bouncing that back and forth. Maybe I was taking more from them than I was giving them, to be honest.
You also, you said at the beginning of the year that you didn't want to coach scared this year.
Yeah.
First year
Yeah.
in the NBA. And you went through all of this. You pulled out a box and won in the final. You tried stuff all the way along up to and including that.
Yep.
Was that something you had to kind of remind yourself of, or was that just something that came naturally?
Both a little bit. I think it's you know, combination of, like, you know, they're saying, well, what would you go boxing 1 for? I mean, like, it wasn't as crazy an idea as it probably seems, even though nobody's probably done it much. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember seeing one NBA game, and I've watched a lot of the finals over the last 30 years, but it just felt to me like we needed exactly that at that moment. And I've run them before, you know, several times, and it just didn't seem like that big a roll of the dice to me. I mean, and I get it. Like, it doesn't bother me like when, I mean, you want some examples. You guys were all over my asses for not playing quiet enough in game 1 of Orlando. Then a week later, you're all over my asses for playing them too much. Like, and I know everybody was all over my ass for the timeout in game 5. That stuff doesn't bother me at all, because I know that it's just not. It's almost like there's 1% truth in it. Like, there's a loss there, and everybody's looking for something, and they grab it, and there's 1,000 good things there that nobody even saw. So it doesn't, and I know that, and I guess I carry that same thing into, is a team prepared? Hope so. We bust our butts to get them prepared for every game, right? Do they feel like they can win the game? Well, hopefully, right? No matter who we're playing, we got to go in there and say, I said this in the press conference today, say, geez, how in the hell are we going to beat these guys? Is your first thought, and then you say, we got to be able to figure this out. And that's the last thought they should be going on. And that's what we were doing. And when you do that, you don't get too nervous, or you shouldn't.
In the aftermath of the celebration, was there a conversation or moment with a coach or a player or family that was particularly resonant to you?
Yeah, I mean, there was tons of them, Eric. I mean, a lot of them. A lot of former players, former assistant coaches, high school teammates, college accounting major, fellow accounting majors. You know, I mean, there was a lot of them that people were saying and sending some good, and like some of my really good coaching friends would comment on things about, you know, liked what you said about loving every one of those little jobs you had, and at the moment you had them, you loved them, and you know, you never got frustrated about it. You know, I just didn't, and I, you know, I say this all the time. I knew I was getting better each and every year, a little bit, and if I didn't think I was going to the next year, I usually left and found another job, and because I wanted to improve. Like I left my home state, Iowa, to go to McAllen, Texas, because I wanted to learn the analytics stuff from the Rockets. And I didn't think staying, I was already in Iowa for 4 years as a head coach. I didn't think staying was going to do me much good. And I was always kind of searching for just trying to improve. And I think that's, in this business, that's your deal. I mean, I'm getting ready to take another situation here soon because I think it's going to make me a better coach. And just keep doing that until we stop doing it.
I'll ask about that other situation.
Yep.
The reports of the Canadian national team.
Yep.
Will you speak to that, or are you interested? Is it going to get done? Where are we on that process?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about done, Doug, and it's something I'm looking forward to doing.
Is that because of your national experience in the past? You'd like to rekindle that a little bit, or
Yeah.
why would you take that on?
Biggest reason is I did it with Great Britain in 2012 for 4 years leading up there, 4 or 5 years leading up to her, and I it's selfish reason is I saw a lot of improvement. I learned a lot as a coach in that run, and I'm hoping this experience will do the same. That's one. Two, I think there's some really good players, right? I think there's some really good players. It's a unique time with the World Cup and the Olympics within a, short 13, 14-month window. And it fits in okay, right? I'm just giving up some vacation time.
With having won the championship
Yep.
in Oakland, how excited are you to share this moment? You spoke about magnitude, just be immersed in the crowd here at this parade.
Yeah.
Friday tomorrow. I mean, MLSD says they're expecting 1.5 to 2 million people to show up along the
That's it?
That's
I bet you there's more than that there tomorrow. I'll take the over on that. Okay. I'm excited. I'm super excited. It's phenomenal. I mean, you guys probably get it. I mean, I stopped at one place last night on the way home last night, and the whole place went crazy when I walked in the door. Right, and it's awesome. It's exciting. The people waiting at the airport last night. I don't know. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like tomorrow. I think again, there's a lot of specialness to it because the first one and the way the Canadians went about this and how much they supported the teams. I mean, it makes me smile every time when the national anthems were awesome, and you could see it almost on the Golden State coaches and players that our whole crowd was singing and singing loud, and you could almost see it on them that they were like, we got our hands full here, I mean, this is some energy and momentum and all this kind of stuff that we're gonna have to deal with, and I'd be foolish to tell you that it didn't help us.
Nick, even as you've been celebrating this, when you've seen the league kind of start to reshape itself for next season, with the big trade yesterday, forgive me if you will for kind of...
No, that's okay, not at all.
For better or for worse, you're in charge of a team that has a lot of questions moving
Yep.
forward. How do you kind of start to plot the course for next season and what's next for this Raptors team?
Well, Bobby and I have already had 2 meetings about it since the championship. I mean, the reality is it's right upon us, and we get to work. I know I've got several meetings today after this conference with some players, so you don't have any choice but to get to work on it. And my thought always is stay hungry. Man, we gotta get our guys we want back and and get ready for the draft, which is a few short days away. And that's one thing I told him last year in the draft. It was my first time in one, and we didn't even have any picks. And a couple things almost shook down, a couple trades and this and that almost happened that we ended up with some guys. And I said to them, I was so impressed with how hungry the scouts and guys were in that draft. When a couple things didn't go the way they wanted, how upset they were because they'd worked so hard to. And I said, that's what we got to do. We got to stay hungry, man.
Is one of those
This,
meetings, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Is one of those meetings tonight with Kawhi Leonard? Because I think that is a big question.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
for
I don't.
everyone here in
I'm not
Toronto.
sure actually. I know I'm seeing 7 players today. I have no idea which ones they are quite yet. I'll probably find that out here in a little bit. But I'm not. I don't know if he's one of them or not tonight. I really don't know who any of them are. Actually, I know I got 7 of them though.
Okay, the other question, before in the past, a lot of the NBA teams, when they won, they went to the White House to celebrate. Have you received an invitation from the White House or from Trudeau from Rideau Hall? Because it is Canada's
Not that I know of on either one. Yeah, I don't know on either one.
Can you shed any light on Kawhi's future?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I know he's got to make a decision here really soon, right? A couple weeks.
Coach,
I think he's he had a good season and people like him here and we can give him a good deal. I don't know if I'm even allowed to comment on my own guy, so let's move on. Who knows the rules these days? Here we go.
Coach, we've talked so much about the seasoned players. Can you tell us what it was like as head coach to watch some of the younger players grow, like Pascal and Fred?
Yeah, that's always. I mean, it's critical in this day and age that you got some youth that performs at all-star level. It's just the way the makeup of the rosters are all going to be pretty much. That you've got to have a couple youngish guys that step into some monster roles, and they were unbelievable. I mean, for what Pascal did this year, just as a consistent performer. I mean, there was hardly any. I mean, usually guys his age are like all over the place, right? You're seeing glimpses of greatness, and then glimpses. I mean, he had like a few little blips. And one of them was in the finals. And then what he do came back and played like 46 minutes the next night and was unbelievable. Like just answered immediately. It was a good trademark of our team. And then I know Fred got 1 vote for the finals MVP. So that's pretty good for an undrafted guy that's like 5'10" and really slow. Right? Just makes up for it all with really tough and smart. And, whew, he's got some. Yeah, but smart one. A guy that's seen a game or two.
What's your reaction to the big Lakers deal yesterday?
My reaction is I don't even know. You tell me what the deal is. I know Davis went, but I think I heard the ball went back. And 3 picks. Who else? Ingram.
And Josh Hart.
That's a big trade. I think that's a big trade. I'm not sure who got the better end of that yet. Give me another day or two to think about that one.
Just back to Fred, his turnaround, from struggling at the start to closing the game-clinching game for you. In the past few days, have you had a chance to step back and just marvel at how incredible that was?
Well, the good news and the bad news about Fred is he's incredibly tough, right? That's good news because he needs to be able to do what he did in those games. He's unbelievably tough physically and mentally, person like beyond belief. Sometimes he's too tough. And that was probably he probably played through so many minor injuries or even a little more than minor injuries during the year that he wasn't playing up to his capabilities, and he wouldn't say anything to anybody. So when he was healthy this year, man, he was unbelievable. And even the games that he didn't shoot it very well, he was always really good. So, I don't know, we're lucky to have him.
What kind of you?
Nah, he's a billion times better than I was.
The way he stays the same and
I don't know. He's him, and he's pretty good, man.
You mentioned before that you wanted to make sure you hired coaches that were head coaches before or had potential to be a head coach. What's the reason for that?
Well, I just think that from my own experiences, I always said that like 1 year, like in the D League as a head coach, was worth about 5 as an assistant anywhere. And I just think when you've got to get up in front of the team and make statements and decisions and call timeouts and make substitutions and decide what you're going to do at practice, and it just elevates heightens the awareness of what you got to do each and every day. And then plus it lets you be in that seat and lets you feel like the guy that's in that seat. You know, instead of always just kind of throwing suggestions, and you never really know if your suggestions are any good or not, to be honest. Right? Take some, don't take some, take some. You know, so I just wanted to get some guys with head coaching experience. Obviously, Nate had a bunch. You know, and Andy was an assistant of mine, so I know him. Sergio's head coach for 30 years. So that was reason to take a couple of those guys.
Nick, for a guy like
They were awesome. Yeah, they were awesome. I think that's probably under evaluated maybe on a team is the chemistry that a coaching staff has to have as well. We had incredible chemistry with the staff, from just acceptance of roles, uniqueness of ideas. I couldn't say more about like you know, the whole crew, like Adrian Griffin and how good he was as far as commanding the room when he needed to. Like really made some strides defensively because he was getting on their asses. You know, he was we're doing this because we're learning and trying to get better, and they respected him because he was 20 years in the NBA. And Sergio's uniqueness of seeing, he saw things, man, really good things, really good little things of let's just cut this guy here and not cut him there, and they were critical things that were going on there. And then Nate's just kind of always my guy that's telling me all the time we can do it, right? I mean, he's a really good basketball coach, but he's one of those super positive guys that he just would never let the wheels come off, even when I'd be like, we're really in trouble, and he'd hit me in the ribs and say, we're gonna win, you know, we're down 18 and we're gonna win, and damn we would, you know, or something. And he's done that with me a lot of years. And then there's a couple other guys too. Phil Handy's got the best player development moniker, and it's for real. The very best players in the league want to work out with him all the time. I've seen it from KD to Kobe to LeBron to Kawhi. It's something to have a guy like that on your staff. And one other guy that I'd really like to talk about is John Goodwill. You guys know him; he's been around forever. But he was my Golden State assistant during the finals. He looked at our team as he was them, and brought a really unique perspective to that really helped me prepare for the games in between. And he's been great.
Nick, you spoke before about how Marc Gasol was calm during the finals. Could you speak a little bit about what he has provided to the team, not just on the court, but outside in the locker room?
Yeah, well, you know, he's a unique person, right? He's a really interesting person just in general. Very smart, intelligent, easy to talk to away from basketball about non-basketball related things, you know, which is cool. But you know, the main things he brought to us, I thought again, was our team sense of who we thought we could become. I think after we had him for a few games, we were like, you know, this guy's good. He's smart. He can pass. You know, everybody was like, man, we're better, and we could become really good. So I think that's a big thing to contribute to a team. And then to watch him play through the games and the ups and downs. And I've talked about some of these too. When he was really struggling, I can't remember when it was. Now he was about ready to get pulled out of one series, Milwaukee maybe. Ring a bell with anybody? He was 1 for 9, or was it Milwaukee? And I talked to him, called him up, and he says, you know, tomorrow I'm going to be great. And I was like, okay, good. You know, and he was unbelievable the next night. Like, so you just amazing journey. Coached against him a lot overseas as well. Amazing. So I've kind of seen him grow up for a while. I even coached against Powell. Powell was like 19 years old when I coached against Barcelona. I was coaching the London Towers. I was 19, 20 maybe. So that was a long time ago. It was a hell of a game in Barcelona. Had them down 8 a couple minutes ago. Got away from us. But anyway, Mark was he was awesome. A great leader and a tough competitor for this team.
Nick, for a guy like Kyle, sometimes can be prickly, always competitive, and usually pretty locked in on what he's doing. To see him finally kind of let loose after the win, the championship, show the kind of joy that you were just seeing it on his face. What was that like to see that version of Kyle after your experience with him over the last 5+ years?
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Kyle is first of all, I'm incredibly happy for him that he achieved this incredible goal as a player. Like, geez, man, it's really something, you know, that he's gets to call himself an NBA champ. I'm incredibly happy for him. I just think that there was a good portion of this season, the majority of it, where he was as incredible off the floor and in the locker room as he was on it. Okay, and that was, like I said, a majority of this season. He was like so fun to coach. I mean, when a guy is that good, is that smart, and I've always said this, I've never seen anybody play harder than this guy, ever, and that to me is like the ultimate compliment. I've never seen anybody play harder than this guy. And there's times in those film sessions where I can't believe it that he's, there was one play we were showing the other day. We went triangle and 2 in the game 5, and he ran out and challenged a shot over on the left wing. It bounced and went, he was pressuring Iguodala, the passer. Curry came off here. He ran over to him and challenged it, and the ball bounced on the rim and went flying that way. And he was the one, I don't know if you remember, he came skipping through about 3 guys and grabbed that rebound. I mean, I'm like showing that to the team and telling them, can anybody else, like, what if we all start doing just a little bit? You know what I mean? It's, so anyway, I'm talking a lot today.
Last question.
OG, tough year from start to finish, with a full summer now coming up and going into his 3rd year. What are you expecting from him over the next few months and going into next season?
Well, he's a super talented young player. Was a tough year for him. I guess, it's one of those things where we're going to have to try to almost go with the clean slate approach. Know where he is in our plans, and let him know where he is in our plans, and then try to get him to go out and play some games. He's very young basketball-wise, and he needs to go play, and the more he can play, the more experience he'll get, and the better he will be. But we love his length, his athleticism. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He can guard. So he's valuable in this league in this day and age.
I don't know if you can comment on it. Would you consider sending him to Summer League if he was amenable to that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's probably past that.